feeling like I'm Akademiks.
Ratathon, the war in Ratlanta, whatever you want to call it, is going to be how does the money play into things? This is like The Wire, people. When you're checking out why is the crime, the violence, why is everything happening, you got to get to the money at some point. When there's millions at stake, people do different things. When there's millions at stake, people start to snake. A lot of things happen. And even in let's say The Wire, when there's no money and everybody's broke, when a little money comes into play, crime starts to happen because people want it. Young Thug was on a jail phone with his manager. And, let me play the conversation. We'll kind of pause it a little bit to break it down. You guys have probably heard this conversation elsewhere, but let me play a little bit of it. And this is about the bots. Now, I do want to say, and I hate to say I told y'all so, but I got to say it. I'm not patting myself on the back because I'll probably break my arm, but y'all should. Y'all remember when I told y'all there was a lot of fishiness happening and people said, no, you're just saying shit, whatever. And a part of what I do, I know people be like, oh, well, you fuck with Universal. No, listen, I've always been kind of anti-industry. I've always been anti-industry because I know how rigged the majority of this thing is. My thing is, and this is for Drake fans specifically, y'all are hypocrites because y'all want me to say everything is rigged and nobody's ever rigged it for Drake. I'm not going to say that. I say the entire industry is rigged, and that's always been my stance. So if you want me to be like, oh, everything is rigged, but this is the only, it's like saying, yeah, the guy who has a home run record, he never took steroids, but everybody else took steroids to even be close to him. Come on, stop it. So that's been my demeanor. I don't care who likes it. I'm telling what I know. So when I talked about bots, right? And by the way, I'm not necessarily accusing artists themselves because most times artists don't do that. They don't know what's going on. It's usually executives or digital dudes or, sometimes above these agencies, they do it. So when I speak about any artist, I don't think Kendrick believes or knows that people botted records for him. I'm going to be honest with you. I do not. Now, do I think there were bots used, let's say for the last year or two? Of course. Do I think Kendrick knows? No. You know who I think would know? The managers, the digital guy, the marketing guy. They know, of course, because that's part of the game. It's part of the game. Now, when I was saying it years ago, whatever, shit, somebody who y'all didn't like said it. Y'all didn't give two fucks about him either. Let me play. Y'all remember this video? Why 69 face look like this?
Whole fan base buy merch. It buys the number one. You can buy a number one. I didn't prove it to you yet. You can buy streams. You can buy bundles. You can buy a number one. I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you that. What does it take you to fucking believe you can buy a number one?
That is facts.
I didn't tell you that. Take it from a person who's successful. You can buy a number one.
Now, at this time when 6ix9ine said this, people felt like he was, this was after he told, so they felt like this was a snitch spiraling, right? But I'll even use that comparison. Even if you ever go on Google or go on YouTube and watch a video of a star dying, it usually gets the brightest when it's about to die. Even if you think 6ix9ine was spiraling because he was labeled as a snitch and his career was whatever, what he was saying was valuable information. He was exposing the game. Now, a lot of times, well, not even a lot of times, the majority of times, people focus on the messenger, never the message. So what he said here was seen as, this is what a grifter would say when he's getting his ass kicked and he doesn't go number one. But he was saying the truth.
Okay, all right.
So stop. What does that mean? So now
The industry's rigged.
All right. So now they know it's rigged. But they got 300 followers. They got hot songs. How do they make it into an industry that's rigged? You could buy number ones. Everything is essentially programmed that you have to follow if you just want to be easily successful. What should they do if they have 200 followers? Yo, this is, by the way, before you even answer, I'm going to tell you why, and a lot of people like you tune into my live, and I know you don't have to like 6ix9ine. You don't have to like 6ix9ine. Let me tell you how I came up, just 20 seconds. I came up, I'm not a traditional media outlet. I came up from doing YouTube. I came up from creating something that didn't exist. A lot of people don't like me. Y'all could see last week, they tried to cancel me.
They can't cancel you.
When 6ix9ine is talking, and even me allowing this platform here, is because I'm trying to let y'all know what I've seen over the fucking curtain in the mountain. And when you hear an established, successful artist...
Look at this comment right here. Look at this comment.
It takes money to make money. That's what they said.
I'm telling you this. There's rappers that don't have a single dollar that can make it. But there's going to be a time when you needed somebody to shoot your video. There's somebody that is going to take time when you need somebody to edit your video. You need money to book studio time. You need money.
It's so interesting looking back at this video in hindsight because it feels frustrating when I think the majority of the opinion here was, shut up, nigga. You're making excuses. Right? I'm going to save you guys a little bit of time. I'll cut this off, but I'll go to this other video that kind of came out later. And this is a video where 6ix9ine had dropped a song, and the song that he dropped didn't get number one. Okay? It actually fell short. Actually, did it get? No, it didn't get number one. I think Trolls was his first number one. And what happened was, I think it was either Justin Bieber or Ariana Grande song, or maybe it was both of them because they were competing for 1, 2, and 3. Last Minute took the spot. Now, again, this is not about 6ix9ine. Who gives a fuck? This is about what I've told y'all the industry is based on. And by the way, I know some of y'all are saying, but why are you saying this? Let's get to the thug shit. This is all gonna connect. And this is for, I'm also speaking to Drake fans. When y'all say, oh, Ak, it's because UMG pays you, I want to tell you, you sound stupid. I'm saying the entire game is rigged. Drake's a part of the game. He's a part of the rigged game. You got to come in not playing the game for me to be like, okay, you're not doing a rigged. Everybody is in the rigged game. The Weeknd, Drake, Kendrick, everybody. Let's not make exceptions. Now, some might wild out more than some, but this entire game is rigged. I'm telling you, this is truth. Now, is it at times that, the record label, again, the point what I told y'all even about UMG, and it expands beyond UMG, Sony and Warner, it's their game. People keep celebrating the Drake lawsuit, say, we're going to expose the labels. How are you going to expose the game? You're trapped in the box. All y'all are trapped in the box. The only way Drake could ever expose the game is to go independent, but he won't. So you're not exposing the game. You can't expose the game but stay in the game. Doesn't work like that. You can't expose the game but stay in the game. Yo, it's rigged. Yo, they doing something behind the scoreboard, and yo, they got like a magnet on the ball and the rims of this. Great for you to say it. But if you still show up and shoot your threes, when your threes go in the rim, how you think it went in the rim? We don't know what's what. It's a rigged game. That's my point. It's a rigged game. But everybody's rigged. I hope y'all understand that. There is no innocent parties. And artists might think, and by the way, you're going to hear it when I get to the thug shit, because Gunna probably was beating his chest like, yeah, nigga. And you're going to hear Thug said, I paid for the shit. And you know what he said? I ain't even tell him. That's how it works. Anyway, let me play this. This is the last video. Again, this is not about 6ix9ine. Please don't make it about 6ix9ine. I know some of y'all be like, yo, that's your friend. You're trying to have him make a comeback. No. I've been trying to tell y'all what I've seen for years. And by the way, here's the thing. Me saying this, it doesn't change the game. And by the way, I'll tell y'all, I know the game is the game. I've accepted the game. I've accepted the game. I've accepted, I'll tell you how I accept the game. Because when I'm reporting numbers, I tweet out usually numbers every week. Probably 80% of them are fraudulent. Here's the thing. How could I go around it to find the real numbers? Spotify ain't going to tell me the numbers. Luminate works with Billboard. They also work with the labels. They're not. Everybody's in the game. The game is making money. So for everybody who think you're the right side of things, but your artist is still in the game, stop it. Remember, the game is the game. This was when they were trying to get 6ix9ine out the game. That's why I said he's like a dying star. And when you just watch a video of a dying star, it gets extremely bright before it goes dead. 6ix9ine, you got to remember, 6ix9ine used to have some of the craziest numbers. Now, if you ask him, honestly, he's going to say, nah, that's just because people love me. I'm Danny. We don't know. That's the point. We don't know. 6ix9ine had 2 million people, or is it 1 billion people? I can't remember how much. 2 million people watch him on Instagram Live. Was that all real? I don't know. That's the point. And I know obviously say K-Boss and shit like that. Obviously, the point, Kendrick bodied the battle, clearly, right? Like, clearly. I'm not saying the songs weren't good, but he knew he had to defeat the Steeler. Whatever. It's not about Kendrick. My whole point is the entire game is rigged. Travis got his finesse. Everybody got their finesse. And the great artists, you don't know what the finesse is. By the way, even when Jay-Z figured out the game, he got his finesse. He had Samsung buy 1 million copies before the shit dropped. Y'all remember this? The game is the game. So that's what I'll say about the music industry. So for y'all Drake fans, exposing the game means nothing because I'm exposing the game by saying it. But as long as you stay in the game, nothing happens. That's what you should know. Let me say this one more time. Exposing the game. This is not a secret. It's not a secret. It's not, exposing someone's like, yo, you fuck men, but nobody knew. Exposing the game. I told you this 5 years ago. I told you. 6ix9ine told you. There is exposing the game. Don't stop the game. The only time you could break the game is when you get outside the game. This is almost some Squid Game shit. I ain't gonna cap with you, but you can't. I bet any amount to any out. Drake ain't going independent. I don't care what this outcome of this lawsuit, he will still be on a major label. And if you're on a major label, you're playing the game. That's it. I don't care what it is. You might not like the favorites they pick at the time because the major labels do play favorites. It's Kendrick time. Fuck you, nigga. That's what they did. It's Kendrick time. Fuck you, nigga. You think you're bigger than the program, nigga. You think you bigger than the program, nigga. Fuck you. Yeah, they pick favorites. That's what happened. That's what happened. But I do know there's some delusional fans out there that think that you break the game by exposing the game, but still stay in the game. No. The game don't change and the rules don't change. Remember that. Anyway, this is not about me preaching. I'm going to play a little bit of this and then we're going to get to the thug thing and then we're going to break it down.
Listen, I want the world to know that Billboard is a lie. You can buy number ones on Billboard. I want that to register in your head. You can buy number ones on Billboard. Now let me tell you what happened. We was having an ongoing investigation just now. Silvio from Billboard, right? There's like probably 5 or 6 of them that come up with the charts with Nielsen and everything. Last Thursday, Ariana Was Stuck With You submitted 60,000 units last second. With the investigation, we found this. They purchased half of those things with 6 credit cards. When we asked where was those 6 credit cards linked to, Billboard said we can't disclose that information. Understand this. They bought 30,000 and so units with 6 credit cards. 6 credit cards. Now, again, you're going to enjoy your number one. Explain how you buy 30,000 with 6 credit cards, right? Now, let me explain to you something. They don't want, Billboard doesn't want no one to know this. Now I understand why Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj say Billboard, like we used to look up to number one.
Also, I'm being honest and fair. Again, I think Nicki is all the way honest with what she is saying. But here's the thing. She's within the game. She's in the game. That's my problem. You can't really criticize the game and be in the game. Nicki's going to say they're paying blogs. Here's the thing. You have 2 type of artists. The artist that knows what's happening for them and the artists that think they that. There's only 2 artists. The one that don't know and think it's them, and the other artist that says, damn, they piping me up. There's no other type of artist. Artists like Drake and Nicki, because of their grind, and yes, they got a great fan base, they look at it and say, that's them. If you think there's no bells and whistles and magic tricks being done, come on. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that for every artist. Kendrick probably feels the same too. Now, it's just me. I talk that black power shit. Go talk to your digital guy, bro. Ask him how many bots he bought. He's not going to tell you. That's the point.
I mean, to Billboard, but now it's like we know you can, it's all manipulated, right? It's all fabricated. You can buy number ones. This is what these artists do, right? And it's not fair. I want you to see this. Gooba streamed 50 million streams, and this is what they're counting only. 50 million streams, right? They only counted, look what Billboard counts. They only counted 31 million. Billboard illegally disqualified 20 million streams so it can drop down, and the people who bought the number one, which was Stuck With You.
Game is game, people. When I'm telling y'all this, listen, I work with the motherfuckers and I'll tell you what happens. 6ix9ine didn't get that number one because at the time, Billboard printed a magazine. When Billboard printed a magazine, the person who had the number one song in the country was the cover. 6ix9ine had allegations of child pedophilia. 6ix9ine had all type of really heinous things still hanging over his head. I don't know if you remember. I don't want to bring it up. And by the way, those things were false. But they didn't want to put that guy on the cover. They were, what's going to sell more? Travis Scott? It wasn't Travis Scott this time. It was like Ariana Grande or something. My bad. Ariana Grande or 6ix9ine? So, you know what they did? They postponed the charts. They said, we're going to do some reviews. We're going to look over a couple of things. We're going to validate your numbers, and maybe we'll give him a chance. We'll give him a couple more hours to submit their numbers. Again, a corporate decision got made. Who do you want to be on the cover? Who's going to sell more magazines? Billboard is a magazine company at heart. It's now turned to digital, and now we rely on it for charts and analytics. Okay? Billboard was a magazine, though. So when they were still doing print magazine, who do you want to put on that magazine to sell covers? You make that decision. Both artists are really close in the race. Who do you give the edge to? You make a business decision. Game is game. Here's the thing. I'm saying the same thing to 6ix9ine. I'm saying to Drake. I'm saying to Kendrick. I'm saying to Nicki. You can't complain about it. Yeah, he was on an independent label, but your label boss is the son of the most powerful nigga. Lucian Grange, his son, Elliot Grange, is your boss. He was running your label. You're in the game. Can't get mad at the game. This is Squid Games. That's what the music business is. You take the rules. You know you're in a rigged game, and you got to try to find a way to win. That's it. There's no, you could complain about it, but if you think the game doesn't stop if you mad, remember that.
Can go to number one. Look at this. 31 million, which places us at 38 points. When in 5th place, you were stuck at 32 points. 6 credit cards buys you 36 credit. Listen.
I remember this day. This nigga was losing it. Game is game.
You can buy number ones on Billboard. I'm letting you know that. We just...
That's a fact. You can buy it.
Did a whole investigation, and their best answer was
Somebody said, how far does Botton go? Obliterated Bum. Thank you for that $2. That's a great question. Before Botton, it was buying records. It was buying records. Now, it was even a more costly method. I could give y'all actual rates for streams that artists could buy. Right? Also, here's the thing, too. Most artists and people directly connected to the artists and executives, they don't know the botters. They don't know the botters. The industry currently is outsourced. Remember I told you. I could tell you this personally because I used to work intimately with every label. These labels have fired all their people. So they'll get 2 people. You guys are in charge of marketing. 2 people can't work for the artists. So you know what they do? They use the money, the budget, and they hire 10 agencies. They assign artists to the agencies, and the agencies do the work. The agencies are not part of the record label. The executive of the record label don't know what the fuck the agency's doing. They only know results. Hey, we need to get this amount of streams for the first week because we need this artist to get this first week's sales. The marketing people are going to go to the agency. Yo, our goal is to get this streams. They give their analytics. He's already streaming 8 million per week for this. So let's add the 8 million plus what we anticipate with these new songs. We need this amount for the next week that we could get that particular record sales. You know what the agency says? It's going to cost you this because we're going to do, and they give a plan, trust me. So we're going to run billboards over there. We're going to have you all in Times Square. We're going to have buses wrapped around with your album cover. We're going to go over there and get this. We're going to, usually and they have analytics. When we wrap buses with your album cover, that usually goes with uptick. You'll get like 2%. So this is how you get this number and blah, 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 blah. They're selling bullshit. What they're really selling them is, we're going to give you a reason for you to give us $1 million budget. And yeah, we're going to put up billboards and shit like that, right? But when all else fails, yeah, we got you on Akademiks. We got you on all these blogs. That's great. Yeah, that's cool. But when all else fails, yo, hit the botters. Yo, we're down 30 million streams. Hit the botters. So how much it costs? And there's a price list for that too. We need 30 million on Spotify. We need 20. It's harder on Apple. Trust me. I talked to the botters. It's harder on Apple. We need 20 million on Apple. Oh shit. We need on Amazon Music. Yo, we need the YouTube botters. Make sure you get the comments and the likes. Cause you know, niggas will see. You see on Spotify, you bought the views. There's no comments. You don't know what's real. You see on YouTube, if you got 10 million streams and 50 comments, it's like, hold on now. Hold on. And then you got only 5,000 likes. Wait, 10 million views 5,000 likes. And what? It won't make sense. So you got to do the whole package to YouTube. But on Spotify and on Apple Music, it's whatever. This is full facts I'm telling you. I'm just trying to tell you that when people say, when did it start? The music business, I keep telling y'all, and I feel like I'm preaching, but just endure what I'm saying. We're going to get to this stuff. Don't worry. I want to ask y'all a question. I know y'all smart. The mere fact y'all sit and watch me for hours and we talk a lot about the music business. We get in bullshit, but we talk about the music business a lot. Y'all are very smart. And y'all are interested and y'all have active minds. Let me ask you this question. Think as a business owner. If you have a multi-billion-dollar business that is based on you get money for hit records, but the idea of a hit record is unpredictable. I compare it to catching lightning in a bottle. If the probability of a hit record coming out is catching lightning in a bottle, that sounds like gambling, right? Would you base a multi-billion-dollar business on gambling? Oh, we don't know when we'll pop off. We don't know when we'll get a Drake or find the next Drake. So no true business. Imagine if McDonald's is like, well, we don't know when the next quarter pounder is going to. No. We don't know how much sales we'll get. No. You need every business need predictable shit. So you know what the music business done over time? We got to equalize certain shit. They realized programming for people. That's why payola existed. Oh, if we just play a record enough, people will believe it's good. All right, good. The one thing they've never been able to finesse, and they tried it too. Shit, Atlantic tried it with one of them niggas, APG, when they were coming up with, they would approach artists with a folder of records to say, we had a writing team, we had a production team, all go to a writing camp and create these what's tested hit records. You just record this record, it's a hit, and you put it out. We don't have to do the guessing game with music no more. That's what they were doing at Atlantic. That's why they started signing influencers. Jake Paul, Bad Baby, that's what they did. They literally did this. Because the most unpredictable, that's what I say, is gambling. If you put an artist and you have a $250,000 budget for 6 months for them to smoke weed with their friends, back and forth, Ubers, runners, they're in the studio for 6 months every night in an Airbnb where they're fucking bitches, that's what it costs. Actually, even more sometimes. To get a top artist, it's a recording budget. $250,000. So you spend $250,000. What's the likelihood that that artist got a hit record? You don't think that's gambling? That's gambling. That nigga could be in there just fucking off, got addicted to drugs. He ain't show up for the studio for 2 weeks. He beefing with his bitch. All type of shit happens. So how the fuck do you make sure that the $250,000 you spent for a nigga to be in a studio is going to come back? You got to control these other valves. Well, we'll pick the best of whatever records you made, and now we got to work it. Okay, how do we work it? Well, radio was one thing. We got to make sure radio plays it, force feeds it to the audience, brainwashes them. We got to make sure they're visible. They look like they're popping. We got to make, when people are driving down the highway, you see them on a billboard. That's what happens. A lot of music is an illusion. Like, a lot of people think they pick what's hot. The record labels spend the most amount of money, even usually more than making the music, on convincing you it's hot. Because that's the only way you reduce the factor of the gambling. Because making a hot record is gambling. I don't care how great of an artist it is. As good as I think Drake is, if Drake went in the studio 10 times, his success rate of making a smash, now granted, he's a big name, so anything he puts out would chart, but a smash, maybe 5%. Think about that. And that's the GOAT. The best there is. If Drake, say 20 times he's in the studio, it's going to be one time he comes out with a God's plan. What do you think that Joe Schmo artists, they're in the studio 3,000 times, and they're not having a fucking hit record. How does a record label survive? Just once you think about the music industry like that, you'll realize why everything is fixed and why everything has to be rigged. That's the thing about when I hear Drake fans saying, Drake ain't going to expose shit and he ain't going to change nothing. Because the music industry only will ever exist when everything is rigged. It cannot be a free-for-all because this is not gambling. Go to a casino. It has to be rigged. Radio, marketing has to be rigged. Has to. Or else you will hear record labels hemorrhaging money. And the amount of artists that they even put money behind will just go down. Remember I told you that. Okay. So, with that in mind, now you have the basis of why and how the music business should be looked at, right? 6ix9ine said whatever. I was explaining the history. So before, back in the day, and when you say, the question from the person who donated was, when did it start? Well, botting is just easier because the first way is not only radio programming and shit like that, which is kind of like botting too, in a certain type of way. Because if you're artificially putting in radio spins for a song that shouldn't have radio spins because you're doing payola through some weird means, so you're pumping it to an audience, hoping they will react. And even if they don't react, those what's called BDS, which is the spins of the record that is being incentivized by money, it affects, to this day, they haven't taken this out of Billboard. Radio spins still, which could be paid for. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's bots everywhere. Where's the thing about streaming bots? Botting existed in radio too. It's called payola. And then the first form of botting was record labels buying their own records. So Nielsen is this, it's a data company. It basically looks at the data and the stats for entertainment. They do it for television. They'll come back and be like, this is the TV ratings. Okay, they've partnered with some other companies, and there's actually a company that does that too. But they'll do it for TV ratings. They'll do it for music listens. It's any type of consumption. Because you know why? Again, remember, you got to think about the business. The business is, if we invest $250,000, how do we turn that into $2.5 million? How do we 10x it? And gambling is not how you 10x it. You ever been to a casino? You ever brought $250 in there and trying to turn it into $2,500? How many times are you successful? How many times you lost your money? No company's going to base it on, I think I got a hunch. So all these things exist because of it. So when we're thinking about the music business, you have to always keep that in mind. Okay, so record labels used to buy their own records. Nielsen, which is a data company, because it was hard to figure out what sales were. There was nothing as streams where it was just has a tally you could just look at that Spotify would give to you. The only way they would do, because they would have to wait for every store to report, they started going with record shipped, which means an artist would be platinum. And by the way, the RIAA, which is a certifying agency, that they're the ones who say you're platinum, gold. In certain markets or certain countries, they go silver. Like, you could actually go silver in like Jamaica or go silver, like I believe in the U.S. Not the U.S., UK. They give out plaques. They don't go off sales. They go off records shipped, which means if my label shipped out 1 million records and not one person bought it, I'm still platinum. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's all about these metrics. So you have one company, RIAA, they go off records shipped. Now, granted, I'll give them credit. Now in the streaming era, they do an audit. So, like, for example, my song was 6ix9ine, right? Like, I have a song with 6ix9ine. And by the way, even Blues Clues, right? I'm using myself because these are real things. If I want a plaque for it being gold, I would pay a fee, and they would do an audit. They would look at any record shipped. Obviously, nobody's sold no physical record for that song. They'll do an audit. They'll come back, and if they say we passed the audit, they're like, you're gold. And now they certify it. Then you pay another fee for them to ship you a plaque. That's just how it works, honestly. That's how it works for everybody. Okay. And it'll have their logo on it, the RIAA. That's why nobody else, if you see a plaque and doesn't have RIAA, it's fugazi. I know Spotify put their own plaques out, but people don't respect Spotify plaques like that yet. Okay. So you have RIAA that goes off record shipped, but you could finesse it by the label that's putting the record out, not even buying it, just shipping. They don't even care who bought it. So it could be on the in the stores, nobody bought it, it's still platinum because it's about record shipped. Now Billboard's is different. Billboard did it one better. Billboard is going to care about supposedly records scanned. So yeah, you ship the records, but their numbers is records scanned. So yeah, you shipped 300 records to this one Best Buy, but if 20 or let's say 200 got sold that week, they'll count the 200 and they'll move to the next store and they'll tally it up. Okay? Now here's the thing. You could finesse that too. There's a finesse everywhere. That's what I keep telling y'all. Game is game. Everything has a finesse. That's the only point I'm trying to make to y'all. Everything has a finesse, and all these artists are finessing. It's a steroid era. So in the first finesse with RIAA, your label ships out an exorbitant amount that you ain't going to sell, but you get instantly certified as gold or platinum. Right? The second finesse, which is the Billboard finesse, and this is the first Billboard finesse. There's been finesses because they change the rules often. Travis Scott's the king of it because as soon as they change the rules, he figures out he's like a math whiz. As soon as they change the rules to stop the finesse, he figures out the new finesse 30 seconds later. Travis Scott's the GOAT. Not him, because Travis ain't that goddamn smart. It's his team. And listen, this is where you got to know the people behind the scenes. Travis has a really smart team. They figured it out like that. Cool. So, but the first Billboard finesse was buy the records and then slowly return them. Yes, I don't know if you know this. Over time, so when a record is bought, it's +1 sales. When it's returned, and yes, you could usually return CDs, it would be -1. So you'd buy them first week to get that first week impact because hip-hop started becoming first week oriented. And you would start kind of either give them away at concerts. Some people do that. You give them to the street team, or sometimes they'll do a organized return. Okay? So that's the finesse right there. There's been 20 other Billboard finesses because they keep trying to be like, oh, we don't want finesses, and then people still finesse. But then the streaming finesse came after. And the streaming finesse was, at first, the finesses wasn't bots. It was, I forgot what it was. It was kind of like, I guess it was always bots. But it's different type of bots. Nowadays, the bots that they have going on, like, it was a reason why I remember Spotify changed, hey, well, actually, I think it might have been Billboard. They changed, hey, you got to listen to a song a certain amount. Because they had gotten bot farms to be like, they're going to listen to the song for just 1 second over the time for it to count as a stream and move on. You get what I'm saying? And also, there would be a time limit. Like, for example, I don't know if you know on Spotify, if you keep stop, play, the same song, it's not going to count as 20 different times you streamed it. It's one stream. However, if you play a certain amount of time, then you stop, and you wait a certain amount of time and play it again. 2 streams. So now it's a computer game. It's a complex computer game. That Spotify, they're never going to say it because their stock price is going up. Their shit would plummet. So respectfully, I got friends that work at Spotify, but maybe they don't even know. You know why they wouldn't know? Because that would be privileged information that if people bought a stock for a publicly traded company and it's known that the money that is being paid out or that's coming in from these inflated streams are not real, that stock price drops. So that's why they don't blast these artists. You think that's, and that's my problem also with Spotify. You see, Apple supposedly does a better job, but Apple never speaks on anything. And Apple's situation is bigger than music. They sell iPhones. You know, like, don't even put streaming numbers out. Like, they're like, we don't go fuck with Travis Scott sold this tweet. Get out of here, nigga. You want us to put out a tweet that he had the highest streaming rate? Fuck out of here, nigga. Buy an iPhone, nigga. Buy a fucking MacBook Pro. That's the reality. But Spotify, they've been announcing every month. It's about to be a year now. Yo, we removed mad fake streams. And I think they used to, because I remember one time they used to mention, or they mentioned an artist that did. They don't do it no more. They don't want to embarrass the artists. The labels who own part of Spotify got in there and said, yo, hold on now. Game is game. Game is game. If you find out that one of our artists finessed and the finesse was so bad you caught it, just don't blast them because it's going to hurt our artists. Just silent remove it and we'll have some internal talks. So again, the finessing continues. Okay, I'm probably boring you guys a little bit with the idea, and I hope the main point I was trying to say, and I hope the takeaway is, if you're in a major record label system, the finesse is happening. Game is game. That's it. Whether you're Drake or the nigga who's on the shelf, how much the finesse is how much the label gives a fuck about you at the time. And I think Drake gonna learn that. Because if the labels want to say, oh, let's teach this nigga a lesson will be taught. Just like how, and this is where I'm always confused by Drake fans. If we want to believe, and I do believe, that the labels said, nah, this Kendrick shit finna go up, which they did, you have to believe they allowed Drake to get that big. It's not like they were like, oh, we're not gonna let Drake get that big, and Drake somehow got that big, like organically. No, nigga. Game is game. They allow what they want to exist, and they kill what they don't want. No favorites. Okay. So, I guess that whole, monologue or, that whole backstory is really key for me to play this audio. And this audio is the audio where Young Thug is in jail. And again, only the rapper Russ has ever really spoken on bought streams, but he was seen as a hater. Obviously 6ix9ine did, but people 6ix9ine. But we finally get the proof that the purchasing of streams actually happened. Now, Young Thug is the owner of YSL, the label that is under 300 Entertainment. And one of his artists is someone named Sergio Wanatelli. Oh, shit. I was about to say Sergio Wanatelli. Sergio Kitchens, a.k.a. Gunna or Wanna. Young Thug is behind bars, speaking with his manager on the phone, saying, hey, hold on. Actually, that's wrong audio. Saying, hey, remember we spent money to buy fake streams for Gunna's album, which was DS Forever. Listen to this.
Trying to do other shit. When he did his 2-album deal with me, Cash called me one day like, hey, what the hell going on with Gunna? Who's speaking for him? I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh, I'm net. He trying to get signed right here with Weeknd signed it. And he demanded he want, 20 million. Whoa. So I already done told him, like, whatever you want, just say it. I'm going to give you the money, whatever you want. Just on some we brother shit. Like, I know you can't go nowhere in this world and get no $20 million check.
Okay. I hate to pause it here. I know I'm talking too much today. I'm sorry. I want to juxtapose that idea to the entire situation. remember, on the biggest of level, we're talking about Drake and UMG. Do you see how, in one sense, Drake might be... You heard what Thug said? I know you can't get that $20 million that you're trying to get from nowhere else. Why is he saying that? Because Thug is saying, and this is what he means, this hype you think you have that demands, that I created. Actually, it's fake. I bought it. I paid for it. UMG, part of their disposition of Drake is, you can't negotiate against us when your leverage and power we create. Drake could disagree, but I keep saying, game is game. The only way to show is to go independent. You cannot show them from within their system. They create everything in the system. This is the matrix. You can't, you think you're going to be in the matrix and fight it from within? Good luck. The same way they brought you in, made you this, yes, they could turn you to that. May not have to be with a battle. Maybe this is the way they probably try to bring Drake down a notch. But it could have been, all right, cool, let's cut the radio, let's cut this, let's cut that. All right, we're going to do half of this. Let's see him be the Drake that sells $700K again. That's what that happens. Let me keep playing.
No label. You're not doing numbers like that. You alright, but you ain't doing that like that. You know, like the number one album you just had right now. I paid for you to have a number one album. You didn't. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, earn a number one album over the.
Okay, that's such an important thing, and people. This went over people's heads when they heard it, because people only care about bots. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna put it in perspective with you. You got a business, and tonight we're all independent entrepreneurs. You have to put your entrepreneur hat on. You got a business, and you could influence your employees' performance, whether they do good like this or they do good like this. By the way, this is baked into the music industry, chat. I'm telling you. I'll give you the exact definition. Well, let me just finish that point, and I'm going to give you the definition or example. If you could influence your employees' performance that they perform here or here, well, it's probably good for the company when you have them perform here, right? Until it's time for you to pay them, it's probably good for you to have them perform here because they have less leverage. If you could dictate how much leverage they have, when it gets to the time that you need to pay them, is a performance review, you're probably gonna be like, oh, well, you fucked up here, here, and here in the last 2 weeks. But otherwise, you want them to be performing great. It's what happens exactly every time an artist has to re-up. Didn't I mention the NBA YoungBoy stuff? I said YoungBoy is nearing the end of his deal with Capitol. They got no more incentive to spend a wild-ass bag on promoting his music, because if they do that and give him this incredible buzz, he might take that incredible leverage and go somewhere else and get an incredible bigger check. You're cutting your nose off to spite your face. So you know what you do? When it comes to end of the contract, you don't spend as much. You start chilling out. Anytime you see an artist beefing with their label, they're never beefing on the first album. They're never even beefing on the second. It's always when the last album's coming up. Always. The label has no more incentive. This is why I keep telling y'all, you can't expose the game from being in the game. Because Drake never had a problem with UMG until his last album of a historic deal. Right? Yeah, they're not trying to pay you. You think you're going to get $1 billion. They're going to sound nuts going to their investors saying, yeah, we paid one artist $1 billion. The stock is going to drop. They're like, what? Y'all just throwing out what? I think you guys get it.
The weekend, my boy. I paid for that shit. I never said that to him. I never told him that. You know, cause we just got the plug on that. Like, you never earned a #1 album. I spent 50 extra grand buying motherfucking streams, $50,000 buying streams for you.
Now, this is another thing that went over people's heads. They're trying to calculate how much was spent. I'm here to tell y'all what Young Thug is talking about is not the total spend on bots for Gunna's album. Let me tell you, this is why these labels pay, it's actually a lot of money. Tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars for a Luminous subscription. It gives you the full demographics of, like, basically tell you how many people on each block. That's how detailed it is. That's listening to these artists, right? And it's data. It's data, right? You know, data that you could use. It helps you with tours. It helps you with marketing, whatever. When an artist drops an album, I know you'll see, like, my page and everybody else say, it's on pace to do this. The actual label knows it down to a science before us. That's why they pay the big bucks for those subscriptions. That's their job. The $50K that Young Thug is talking about was when he realized the race was going to be close. And I seen Gunna fans trying to be like, oh, yeah, no, it was only 2,000 streams, and I seen them remove it. Nah. This happens a lot. As the week progresses, when you're in a battle, you're going to have to keep doing. And by the way, Billboard gives them early reports too. We don't see those. The $50K that Thug is talking about, that he spent personally, was when it was neck and neck. There's already bots in the label budget. There are bot purchases in the label budget already. But that's the steroids. Everybody got them. So when you're hearing the $50K and you're like, oh, it took 50. No. It took $50K. It was a close race. It took $50K to bump him over the hill. It's not $50K just entirely. It costs a lot way more than that.
For you to be weak. Right. And Cash know the same plug, so Cash could have did the same thing. But
chat, when you listen to these conversations, a lot go over your head. I'm going to break it down for y'all. You know what he says? Cash, which is Cash XO, the guy who owns XO. Say he know the same plug. By the way, they all know the same plugs. Kung Fu Kenny people know the same plugs. Like, we call it the K-bots, but these bots have been existed. We just termed it the K-bots. They all know the same plug. This is very interesting here, chat. Remember I told you this is the music business. Game is game. When Thug says Cash could have did the same thing, let me ask you a question. Cash gets the same information. Cash gets the same information as 300 and YSL and Young Thug. Weeknd is perceived as a way bigger artist that has a way bigger budget. They got the same bot plug. Why not let Weeknd blow that nigga out the water? Drop $2 million on the bots. Why not do that? I'll throw this in the air. Let's look at Weeknd contracts. This was the album. We were shocked. We never seen Weeknd sell like that. What did he sell afterwards? The next album, he doubled it. Let me ask you a question. Could have been negotiation time. Game is game. Remember, I tell you. What we're seeing, we're hypnotized a lot of times. Oh, what? You think on a good day, Gunna is out selling Weeknd, my nigga? Weeknd does stadiums. Come on. Just start. Let me show you. Weeknd just did a crazy stadium tour. By the way, just broke a record for highest grossing tour by a black male artist. Right? Okay. I'm just trying to show you it's much deeper than what you think. let's go to his discography. They were talking about Dawn FM. It dropped the same time. Okay? Somehow the bundles weren't bundling at this point. But let's check this. Let's go to commercial performance. The Weeknd sold 148,000 albums. I'm going to show you this. It streamed 173 million times. 148,000. It debuted number 2 behind Gunna. Okay, let's go to this next album, which is 2 years later. Oh, shit. Never mind. It's around where's the... Trying to get to the album. Fuck. All right, I'll go here. Hurry Up Tomorrow. Actually, yeah, this was released this year. Damn. He dropped the album this year? Oh, fuck. I thought it was like end of last year. Okay. Anyway, let's just go to commercial performance again. Give me a second. Fuck. Goddamn. Where's commercial performance? And by the way, chat, I did not look none of this up before. Okay, here we go. Okay. First week sales. Chat. I'm going to explain this slowly, but you got to have a brain to understand. As I keep saying, this is the Matrix. That's the industry. That's why Drake will never win. You can't beat the Matrix, not from inside the Matrix. You got to leave. You got to be independent. You got to be independent and show that you could do it when they're against you. Because they ain't, no matter how much he sue, they ain't against him yet. They're going to temper him down. They're going to be like, we're going to tone you down. But they ain't against him yet. Because he changes and fucks the whole shit up if he goes independent. Look at this. The Weeknd. Remember the last album? I got to put both of them up. I'm sorry. Fuck. I want to keep both of them side and side. The Weeknd. And you just tell me what you take from this. And if you don't take nothing from it, fuck it. Maybe I'm just not that good at my job and I'm not spelling it out for you. Here we go. Dawn FM. He loses to Gunna and sells 148K. He loses to Gunna and sells 148K. The next album, clearly number one, gets 490,000 sales. Look, so he goes from 148 to 490. Here's the interesting part. And by the way, I'm not accusing the Weeknd of botting. It's actually the opposite. Look. In the week he did 490, he streamed 171 million. In the week he did 148, he did 173. He did more streams the week he sold 148,000 than the week he sold 490. Let me further crystallize this point. The music industry and what we see in sales usually sometimes got shit to do that we don't know what's going on. Nigga could have been up for a re-up in a contract. Nigga, we can't make you look that hot when we trying to re-up. You're in the Matrix. Game is game. You need to do a 148 to sign this contract. Once you do that 148, you get back up to 400,000, nigga. That's how it works. That's always the same thing with Drake. They might just use the battle for Drake. Oh, you want 700 million? Oh, wait. You think you're too popping, my boy. Let us set you straight. That's the point. So you hear even Young Thug admitting it. He thinks he's worth $20 million. But he thinks he's worth $20 million because he got a number one, but the number one's fake. We bought it. We gave him a number one. We artificially created a number one for him, and he thinks that's his worth, and he think he could get $20 million. If that don't crystallize my point that if you're in the matrix, which is the industry, you're in a fake game that creates your value, devalues you at any time, depending on your contracts, tosses you, twists you, does anything. The only way is to become independent. And even then, there's 20 different ways which they still try to influence the shit. Anyway, I'll keep playing this. If you didn't get this point with this whole thing that I did, you're lost.
But Cash, like, let it go. Cash just, like, sat down, like, man, let the nigga on the way. I ain't stunning shit.
You see what he says? Me and Cash got the same plug to the same bots. But the Weeknd looked a little bit, that was an embarrassing look for the Weeknd, wasn't it? You lose to Gunna, and you're a huge mega superstar. You heard what Thug says? Cash was like, I'm gonna stand down. You think Cash is standing down for Gunna? There's probably something that happened during that time with Weeknd. That's their business. But remember this is always the business of music.
Smack down like a player. You know, but he did a little deal. He got some little signs for a little nigga from his hood, whatever. Did the same shit, but he did a deal where he took their money. So these niggas, some young niggas too, these niggas like 17, 18.
Somebody said, I understand why Drake is yet to give Ak an interview. What does Thug got to do with Drake? Nigga, they're all in the fucking music business. I'm telling you, the whole music business is the same. They're all the same. My nigga, like, we're not creating a new industry for one nigga. This is all the industry, gang. They're all in the industry. Kendrick, Drake, name anybody, nigga. Even the dead niggas is still in the industry. You drop music on a major label, you're in the industry. One nigga is suing because he's saying this is what's happening. That's what you have a nigga here admitting it's happening. But he's admitting it's the game. What do you mean what it got to do with Drake? Drake's lawsuits acting like niggas didn't bot before him. Everybody probably got botted. Now, does the label strategically use their botting? Probably. Is your contract about to be up? Well, no bots for you. Yeah. I guarantee Drake signed his contract with Universal. We start seeing shit we'll never see. We're like, oh my God. That's all you got to do. Sign on the dotted line. That's what you're in the matrix. Sign on the dotted line. Let me put it like this. If Drake signs with Universal, whatever bullshit deal they're trying to get him, they probably lowball him like a motherfucker. In the next 2 years, you would forget Kendrick exists. Trust. They're not loyal to Kendrick. They don't give a fuck about Kendrick. They don't give a fuck about Drake neither. But these niggas, that's a plantation. Boy, you gonna get down and lay down. Do you get what I'm saying?
Like real kids, baby. The oldest one of them probably be 18. The oldest one. No, probably about 20. The oldest one probably be 20. It's like 5 of them. They probably like 16 to 20. Man, these niggas ain't got no tongue. These niggas ain't popping. Nobody in Atlanta ain't heard of them. They done did like 3-4 shows in the city in 2-3 years. Like these niggas done had 3-4 shows, and they shows be like goddamn $5,000. You know, it's on the behalf of Gunna and all that shit for sure. Like the show. You know, niggas booking you just because they like, oh, they Gunna new artists, they upcoming, they Gunna new artists, but they ain't got no song, they ain't put no music.
Now, this is why I gotta keep pausing it that you guys could really lock it in here. Part of what Thug is talking about, right? And part of his disposition is that he feels he's created artificial leverage for Gunna that has Gunna asking him for too much money. He wants $20 million. He's like, nigga, you're not a $20 million artist. I pump some fake shit into your shit to make you look like a $20 million artist. However, what Gunna is doing that I think he's also peeping, Gunna was trying to start his own label. You don't hear that? At the end, he started talking about, oh, Gunna, he signed some niggas, da-da-da-da. Bingo. That's another can of worms that you got to get to. Because that usually opens up problems. I'll put it like this with y'all. When Lil Wayne was an artist, just straight to Cash Money, all was well. Here's a Bugatti, da-da-da, you're great. Then the idea was, Wayne, you could start your own label. At first, he colored within the lines because he brought it in and became a joint venture. That's how we got Young Money, Cash Money. Birdman owned 51%, Wayne owned 49%. Thug, I know he's talking and you're only hearing hate, but you're hearing a nigga who understands the game on his level from where he's working with. Thug ain't a dumb nigga. Let me tell you this. Young Thug is a manipulator, but he's not dumb. Young Thug is a manipulator, but he's not dumb. Actually pretty smart. I'll give you some more proof. And by the way, we're going to play this again. I'll give you some more proof. Remember when we covered this? I want to show you how smart Thug is. Here we go.